Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys of Magic. This is Hunter, Riley, Steven, Shane. Say what up, guys.
Hello.
I've missed you.
What's up, nerds?
We are back. Yes, Steven, we've missed the audience. We are doing another Commander Grades video. That is right. We are taking a look at the legendary creatures from Aetherdrift. If you guys haven't already seen the other videos, check the link in the description. But if you're new here, what is this? Well, like I said, we talk about the legendary creatures from a set, talk about them as the helm of a deck, as the potential commander, kind of give them our rundown of if we like it, if we don't like it, what's the positives, the negatives, all that jazz. We give them a letter grade, and then we give it a full average grade between all four of us. But these are just our opinions. So always interested to hear your guys' opinions down in the description. If we missed a point, maybe we did. Comment down below. But hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because let's kick it off with the monocolored legendaries. We'll start with the white ones. This is Basri, tomorrow's champion. It is 1 white mana for a 2/1 legendary creature human knight. It has an ability we can pay 1, tap it, exert Basri to create a 1/1 white cat creature token with lifelink. It also has a cycling of 2 and a white. And then whenever you cycle this card, cats you control gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn.
I noticed you didn't sound excited at all while reading this card.
Yeah, this is a bad card.
Not really a commander.
Do you mean it's Badsri?
Basri.
I think we should start a thing where it's like we get to pick one legendary creature from each set and then like forcibly make the other person play like a deck with it. Hunter, this would be my choice for you.
And I would hesitate because I don't like this card. This card is so bad. Not only are you never going to be able to cycle this unless you have a way to bounce it to your hand, or you're hoping your opponents bounce it to your hand. The exert on a commander, not great for just a 1/1. This will not untap. In case you guys don't remember, exerted creature won't untap during your next untap step, so you have to take a whole turn off without untapping. Granted, you could blink this, but for a 1/1 with lifelink, that's bad.
Super bad. I don't like it. We can move on.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we can move on, right, Steven? Unless you got anything else you want to add.
I'm just trying to be nice.
There's no point.
So that's a
This
no.
video is going to be fast.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with me. This is an F. Pretty strong F in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll immediately join you.
Yep.
It doesn't function in the format. This is an F.
Does not at all. It is an F.
Basri, tomorrow's champion, kicking off the video as an F.
Strong.
It's a good thing we're going up from here.
Yeah.
Moving on to the other white legendary creature from the set, we have Sundial Dawn Tyrant. It's 1 and a white for a 3/3 legendary artifact creature construct. It does.
It does.
It does. That's right.
Nothing.
That's nothing. This is gonna be a quick video, like Riley said.
No,
I-
talk
okay.
it up, dude. You made this deck. You love
I
it.
will. I will
don't-
talk it up for a second, Steven. Hang on, and I will say, because we do have a full cycle, you will see it throughout the video. What I like about it is that you can bring this to a table, and your table mates will not know what you've built. This is a blank slate for just one color, and I think that is where it's fun.
And that's it.
Yeah, and that nobody had anything to add.
Well, it was fun. Hey, spoiler alert. You might see something
I
soon.
mean, it's an
True.
artifact. At least it has that going for it.
True.
Sure.
It's a 2-mana 3/3. It has
Yeah, see?
nothing else on it.
This card's bad. We'll move on.
Let's
No, it's
move
got
on.
a lot of text on it, Shane.
That's true. I'm sorry.
Should I read the flavor text?
No.
I think you should. I
We're not
honestly,
gonna
that's
do
what
this
I
for
was
all
going to
5
say.
of them. We're not
Okay.
going to do this.
We're not gonna do it. All right, let's
No.
move on to the grades. I'll kick us off. Shane kind of alluded to, you might see a video in the future of these vanilla legendaries going at it. But I'm gonna give it a D. I'm not giving it a full F because I like the idea of you can bring it to a pod and just surprise your opponents.
Yeah, I was going to give this a D, and then you decided to not read the reminder text on that card, so I'm going to go ahead and give this an F.
Flavor
Wow.
text.
No, this is reminder on this card.
This, I think, is one of my least favorite of this cycle. I think I'm going to give this one an F.
Sorry, Hunter. You just got a normal 3/3. It's an F.
Yeah, Sundial Dawn Tyrant gets the average grade of an F. Moving on to the blue monocolored legendaries, we will kick it off with another vanilla creature. It's Caelorna, Coral Tyrant. 1 and a blue for a 0/8 legendary creature octopus. Shane, we'll start with you.
Dude, this is my kind of card. Cheap, huge butt, great color. I love this card.
Is this better or worse than the last vanilla we saw, Riley?
I think this one might be better because at least this one can block, but like this card is not good.
Yeah, they're all not good. But like I said, I'm going to give you a little spoiler of my grade. I think bringing it to a table as a unknown factor, you don't know what my deck does, is cool. But it's only going to work
Cool.
one time because now your opponents know your deck.
This is a meme.
It's a meme
So are you
dream.
telling me that every one of these vanillas is going to get a D from you?
Probably.
Okay.
You want to move on to grade, Steven? Let's do it.
Are you
Okay.
gonna read the
I'm-
flavor
I'm-
text?
Nope. Caelorna is, for me, once again, it's a D.
I'll give this one a D. I actually like this more than the last creature. This one at least like protects you for a little bit. Having 8 toughness is a lot.
I am going to give this a C.
Okay. This guy's on one.
I really like this card.
I feel like I should like this one out of all of us the most, and I'm still giving it a D. But it's hilariously good.
Yeah, well, Caelorna Coral Tyrant gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to the next card, we actually have something to talk about because it's got text on it. Yanling, Wind Rider. 2/2 blue for a 2/4 legendary creature, human wizard pilot. It says when this creature enters, you create a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with crew 1. It says vehicles you control have flying. And whenever one or more creatures you control with flying deal combat damage to a player, draw a card.
I mean,
I
it's
hate this
possible.
card.
It's possible.
It's cool.
Possible lane for it, at least. I could see it.
I hate this card so much.
Why?
Run mono blue birds.
True.
I hate this card because the question I hate getting asked the most, more than do you pay the 1, do you pay the 2, is do you have flying?
That's
Because every
Sometimes.
time I get that question, I know I'm getting swung at.
true.
Yeah, because you always say no.
Yeah.
Build your deck better.
Interesting card. I don't know. Like I said, build it bird tribal. Very cool lane to go down because if you do swing at 3 different opponents, 3 different players, you do get 3 cards. Now, it would be a bummer if it had the actual text of every time a creature you controlled dealt combat damage to a player, you would draw a card off of that. But unfortunately, it's 1 or more. So
That's
I
true.
mean, it's really tough because, like, why not run, like, and obviously I know, I don't know, I can't remember if it's a legendary or not, but like, Enduring Curiosity is so much better.
it's not a legendary, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But throw that in here.
Definitely.
Definitely.
There are other legendary creatures out there that like are good for like the bird or like flying creature kindred thing. And I don't know necessarily if this like does it. It's a cool card. This one by far, I will say it does more than anything we've talked about so far in this video. I still don't know if I'm sold on this.
Yeah, just play Tyrant.
Possibly.
No, just play Tyrant.
I feel like
It's like a
Mu
spell slinger,
Yanling
yeah.
is pretty cool in terms of I don't know, just card draw wins games. We say it all the time. This is stapled on the commander. It wants to deal damage. It's kind of my lane I like to go. Is just damage, damage, damage. So just fill it with flyers. Go have fun.
Have fun.
Go have fun. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Steven. Steven, what are you giving Mu Yanling?
I mean, I think it's kind of like a low power deck kind of style play. So, I mean, for the funs and giggles, I'll throw it this at a D, because I hate the question.
You know, I'm going to stick at average. It's an average deck. It's getting an average grade from me. It's a C.
I'm in agreement. This is a C. It's middle of the road.
I want to point out that Steven gave a vanilla 0/3 a C or a 0/8
0/8.
and gave this a D. So There we are. I'm gonna give this a C.
Well, Mu Yanling Wind Rider gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to the last mono blue legendary, it's Vnwxt Verbose Host. It's 1 and a blue for a 0/4 legendary creature Homunculus. It's got start your engines. Says you have no maximum hand size, and at max speed, if you would draw a card, you draw 2 cards instead. Talk about churning
Solid.
through your deck. That is going to go wild if you can get to max speed.
It's definitely a builder on, that's for damn sure.
Yeah. I think it's cool.
I mean, it's really cool. I think the only issue I really have with this card is it's a 0/4, so there's really no way for you to continue to build speed unless you already have a creature on the board. But I mean, obviously, there's definitely ways to do it. But I think that's my only kind of I'm not a big fan of this card.
There are also other ways to get your engines started before you drop this too. So
This is a 2-drop.
I know you
If
you
you're
have lands that start your
if
engines.
I don't know, man. It's Commander. I get that. Yes, you can go that route, but like realistically speaking, you're probably not.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
even if
know.
you do start your engines before this card comes down, when you bring this down, it doesn't level your speed up.
hmm
True.
My thought is like best case scenario here, you play like one of the 1 mana blue unblockable creatures or something like that, and drop this on turn 2, then swing in. So at least like you've kickstarted your engine on that. But this is a card that does nothing until it starts to double your draw. In which case,
Powerful.
yeah, it's powerful. I'm just curious, is like I feel like this is a trap. This is one of those commanders that has the ability to sit around and do absolutely nothing all game long. And it also has the ability to like really draw in a lot of attention with like, oh, I'm gonna draw 2 cards during my draw step, or 2 cards like anytime that I would want to, I guess, just like do its thing. So it is powerful. I just think there's some hoops to jump through.
I know what this card's good at.
What?
At any point in the game, you can pay 2 mana and you won't have to discard.
Not
That's
wrong.
also true. Yeah, no max hand size, also very good here. Obviously you're building the deck around just card draw because that's what this wants to do. So having no max hand size is fantastic. But I think this coming down early, like you've mentioned, 2 mana, this is gonna chump block everything else that might be aggro coming at you in the early game because at a 0/4 is gonna be a nice little wall.
I'm kind of worried though that it. Obviously, I haven't played with it, but I get the card draw is fantastic, and you said yourself build around this with card draw. But it kind of feels like the deck wants to do 2 different things because you need to be consistently dealing the damage to start your engine, but then your deck is full of things that are drawing you cards. So it's kind of like your strategy is a little wishy-washy, but if you could pull it off, I guess it'd be good.
Yep.
Hey, during curiosity, deal damage, draw cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
ways to
plus
do
there's
it
a
for sure.
ton of blue cards that let you draw cards when you deal combat damage.
Hey,
And
put
I wasn't trying to say
Mu
no to it.
Yanling into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. I'm here for it. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We'll start with Riley.
I think that this is a great support piece. Probably more so in like an Izzet deck. I'm gonna give this a D.
I'll go up to a C here. I see some potential. I think it's more middle of the road. I feel like it could be really strong, but at that point, like you just again, you're putting so much into this that it's like just build something else.
Yeah, I'll give it a C as well.
And I kind of also see it more as a support piece. So I probably wouldn't build it, but I'm going to give it a D.
Vnwxt Verbose Host gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to the black legendary creatures, we'll kick it off with Gonti. Yeah, that's right, Gonti's back. Gonti Knight Minister, 2 and 2 black, 3/4 legendary creature, Aetherborn Rogue. This is whenever a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell this way. A little bit of group huggy, steal your opponent's stuff. Also, all your opponents can play with each other's stuff, right, Riley?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like decks that like incentivize people to attack, and this incentivizes everybody to start attacking everybody but me. and rewards me whenever I just play Magic. So this honestly is like right up my lane.
I could see you
Yeah,
building
and
this for sure.
that's what I was gonna say. I really like the fact that this card kind of takes the heat off you for a certain extent of time. Uh, I don't know what else to say about that.
I am terrified of this card. In terms of, I don't know if I personally would play this style, because not only are you incentivizing, I get it. Like, goading is a thing. That's fine. That's a cool mechanic of, hey, swing at each other, not me. But this is swing at each other. And also, if you do, you get rewarded way too much, in my opinion. Like, you would get your opponent stuff. Also, if you play your opponent stuff, you also get extra mana. Congratulations. It's wild.
To counter that though and add on to it, this I feel like doesn't have the downside that Goad decks typically do. So Goad decks, whenever you are like down to just 1v1, they tend to struggle. Because like if you are gonna goad your opponent's thing, it doesn't matter. They can still swing at you. Whereas this, you've been accumulating a board just like your opponents have been. So you're not running into that same kind of issue of like suddenly in a 1v1, my deck shuts down.
True. Still works for
I
you.
mean, yeah. But I don't know. There's also a difference of goad, right? Because unlike goad, this players can still choose to just straight up attack you.
Yeah. I think we're making the comparison just because they do incentivize combat and they kind of take the heat off of you for a little bit.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think it's still kind of, it does take the heat off of you, but at what point people are gonna be like, yo, this card it's good, but like we need to kill you or kill it. Like it might eventually gain a little bit of hate because other people
Yeah,
at
it's
the table
usually
might not
when
like it.
2 people are dead.
Well, not okay, that true, but like if Riley played this on our pod and Hunter and even we're taking mass advantage of it, like I might be looking at that card like I gotta kill that card.
Or would you look at this card and be like, I need to take advantage of that as well so I don't fall behind?
I don't know. I guess it all depends on. Yeah, I don't know. I can see that it's a good card though.
It's a cool card. I mean, obviously, you're going to be throwing in other effects that just steal your opponent's stuff that
Yeah.
actually don't help your opponents. So you can get the extra treasures. So, I mean, you can accumulate a lot of treasures very quickly.
Definitely.
Gonti, I feel like. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Riley, you said you liked Gonti a lot. Let's hear the grade.
I do. I'm going to give it a B.
You know, just as a personal choice, I wouldn't play this. And I think that's where my grade is going to differ from yours. I'm going to give it a C.
I feel the same way. I would play this, but at the same time, I also don't like giving my opponents advantage. And normally, when I play in a pod, everyone's building a strong deck. So I will stick with a C with this.
Well, like you just said, dude, everyone's playing a strong deck, so that means you're playing their strong deck. I don't know. I can still see it. I'm actually gonna give it a B.
Oh, there we go. Gonti Knight Minister gets the average grade of a B. Next up is Kalakscion Hunger Tyrant. 1 and 2 black for a 7/2 legendary creature crocodile.
And that's it.
That's it.
Every time you stop talking, it catches me off guard.
Cliffhanger.
That's it. This is the vanilla legendary in mono black. Steven, what do you think of this one?
I mean, this is my favorite card.
I told you.
We all knew it. Yeah.
No, I mean, my favorite between the two vanillas was green or the black one. I mean, this one is kind of fun because you can build it in 2 of my favorite ways, which is like discard or infect. And you usually get hit first because after you swing at somebody for 7 infect, they don't forget that.
Never forget.
Dude, it's a 3
It's
mana
like right,
7/2.
it's like right up here. Like that opponent remembers that. But it is a 3 mana 7/2, like Shane said, and there are ways to build up toughness. You can build this Voltron, which is really fun. But turn 3, if you're on curve for a 7/2, is pretty aggressive, but it will die very easy.
My opinion is the same as the other two.
Yeah, I love that we're talking as much about a vanilla card. Makes me happy.
I mean, it can do a thing. Like
It
this
could.
actually can very well get there with Voltron damage. Like 7 power is a lot. So I'm not out on this.
Okay. Let's go to the grades then. Let's hear how not out you are, Riley.
It's a D.
There, that's right.
It's not an F.
I'm right there. D for me as well.
Steven's favorite card. Favorite card, Steven.
Ooh. This is a see.
C.
Solid. But it's a D.
No, it's a C.
Shocker. Kalakscion Hunger Tyrant gets the average grade of a D. And the final legendary card in mono black is the Speed Demon. It is 3 and 2 black for a 5/5 legendary creature demon. It's got flying, it's got trample, it has start your engines, and at the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is your speed. So this just sits around and draws you cards, and also makes you lose life.
Card draws can win the
Great.
game, right?
Card draws wins games.
Aggressively slow with that engine starting, dude.
Yeah, but this does something without max speed.
That's true.
It does. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much speed you have, but
That's true.
yeah, it's just gonna get better as you just play Magic.
Yeah.
And then you have effects like add Speed Demon, add Shieldred. You're drawing cards and gaining 2 life per card draw and still losing X life. You're just gaining life at that point.
I mean, I really like this card because the floor is you have a 5/5 flying with trample that draws you 1 card on your end step. You lose that 1 life. And then the ceiling is basically the same thing, but you're drawing 4, losing 4. So I mean, I really like this card.
This is like a Blood Gift Demon, but it's legendary. And Blood Gift Demon is a card that I still actually throw in like some mid-rangey grindy decks. So having access to that card draw in the command zone, I kind of like this one.
I
Me
think
too.
it's cool. I don't like. However, we will say the thing that we always kind of go back to is how many times is this going to die before you never cast it again?
I mean, in mono black, it's only 5 mana. Mono black is generally pretty good at being able to generate large quantities of mana.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Okay, I'll give it to you. That's correct. I don't know. I feel like this is more of a support piece in my opinion, but having it in the command zone is also pretty effective.
Taking 5 per turn though, dude. Commander damage will add up quick.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Steven. Steven, what are you giving the Speed Demon?
I'm actually gonna give this a B. I think this is pretty solid, and I really do like this card.
Go
I'm
ahead,
going to
Mike.
give this one a B as well. Completely agree with Steven.
I'm gonna give it a C. It's just not my flavor.
I think it deserves a B.
The Speed Demon gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to the mono red legendaries, we'll kick it off with Daretti, Rocketeer, Engineer. I love how that rhymes. It's 4 and a red for a star 5 legendary creature Goblin Artificer. It says its power is equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. And whenever Daretti enters or attacks, you choose target artifact card in your graveyard. You may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return the chosen card to the battlefield. In our backup $100 gameplay, it's over exclusive on our Patreon. Riley, you actually built Daretti to play against the other pre-con upgrades. What do you think of Daretti?
I think it's a cool card. I do think that this is a card that like it really wants to have haste. I know that would probably be a little bit too much, especially since like I don't know. It's really neat in that it does its thing on ETB, and also on attack. So it's like there are ways that you could be able to exploit this. Being able to do the trash for treasure thing every turn is really impactful. There's a lot of really solid artifacts out there that you want to be able to send to the grave, and obviously there's a lot of really powerful ones that you want to be able to recur as well. This is one of those decks though that a single Bajuka Bog can take you from 0 or can take you from 100 to 0 really fast.
Yeah, it definitely can. This is the Graveyard Matters in mono red. Very interesting card. Definitely is powerful when you can get the engines going though. So it's pretty cool.
I kind of agree with Riley in the sense that if this had haste, it'd probably be too good, but I think it's because of the mana cost. I think the mana cost is its weakest point. Because everything else is really strong. Being able to do that on ETB and attack is fantastic. And I don't know, maybe if it was a little cheaper, but when you got the engine going, it was going. It was cruising. I can see the power of this deck.
Normally I look at the mana cost of cards that aren't in green and scoff when I see 5 mana, but when it comes to mono red and just knowing the treasure production value that mono red has, it doesn't really scare me. Especially with mono red having so many ways to discard and draw cards that I actually really loved Daretti. And the way Riley built it was terrifying, and it made me want to build it, and it just kind of made me love it more. And I really do think this is a powerhouse of a card. Now, granted, obviously, like we've already mentioned, the one downside is graveyard hate. You're gonna run into it, but listen, at the end of the day, you got a 100 card deck.
Oh my god, he said the thing.
This thing. Yeah, I like it. I like the card. But I still think 5 mana is a little bit much for that value. I mean, the value, like Riley, I like the deck that you built. I saw it pop off. It terrified me. Being able to pitch some hefty artifacts and then just be like, oh, I'm gonna cast my commander. I'm gonna get rid of this artifact token and bring back Portal to Phyrexia. It's like, oh, okay, that was a thing. That's a powerful effect, so I'm here for it. And then you can start chaining, right? Because you can continue to do just bring something back, get rid of something, bring something back, get rid of something. And I think that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and move on to the grades, though. We will start with you, Riley. What are you giving Daretti?
I think everybody did a really good job of highlighting this card, and that everybody was like, yeah, I like it, but something's off. And I completely agree with that. And because of that, I'm going to give it a C.
Yeah, same boat as you. I'm giving Daretti a C as well.
I can't go that low. I mean, I really want to give this card an A, but at the same time, there's just really no protection for this. And I think that's what kind of stops me from giving it that super high grade. But just the fact that even though it is 5 mana, I think it comes on super strong. And when it does come on, if you don't stop it, it just keeps going. So I'm going to give this a B.
And with everything Steven just said, I also agree. I'm gonna give it a B.
Well, Daretti, Rocketeer, Engineer. Gets the average grade of a B. Moving on, we've got Hazoret returning. It's Hazoret Godseeker. 1 and a red for a 5/3 legendary creature god. It has indestructible, it has haste, it has start your engine. It has another ability. You can pay 1, tap it, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. And it says Hazoret can't attack or block unless you have max speed.
The unfortunate thing is normally when you read a card's text and you go, and it has, and you get excited. I did not.
This one I'm not excited for at all. This is okay at best in standard. Honestly, it's not great
I could see it being a helper somewhere for sure.
in standard.
I mean, I'd put it in a deck that cared about creatures being unblocked.
Sure.
But that's about it.
You put it in a deck, but
That's-
how
yeah,
about
put it
as a
in.
commander?
I don't think I'd play it as a commander.
And that's why we're here.
I think
Yeah.
that there are better options as far as like to try to play the little unblockable game.
Yeah.
There are a lot better options.
It's just like what Steven was saying. I mean, Hunter continued to just chain off the things that this card does, and at no point did I go, oh, that's why this would be a card that I would want to play. You do all of this work and you get a 5/3 with haste. It does have indestructible. That's cool. It's not going to do a whole lot.
No,
I mean,
it won't.
it's unfortunate because like with this card, you see indestructible haste and it's a 2 mana 5/3, and you're like, holy crap, this is the chosen one.
It's a god.
And then you're like, but like, there's no shot you can get your speed to max by turn 2. So like, it's pointless.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the haste is there for the tapping and giving something unblockable, but rip.
I
Let's
mean, I
move
could always
on.
make my. Sorry, Honor. I just wanted to make sure that I get this one point out. You could always make your dockside extortionist unblockable.
Whoa, dude, sad.
Sad.
Oh.
Who knows? Might be unbanned here in April. We'll see.
Yeah, right.
Unlikely. Moving on to the grades. I'll start us off. Hazoret for me, I'm going to give it an F.
I too will give this an F.
I 3 will give this an F.
I4? F.
All right, well, won't you look at that? A legendary creature that is a mythic rarity. Hazoret Godseeker gets the average grade of an F. And the final mono red legendary we are talking about is Tyrox, Saurid, Tyrant, 1 and red for a 4/1 legendary creature, dinosaur warrior.
Dude, every
And?
time. I'm like looking, I'm like, why does he stop talking?
Eyes are wide open. Attention is
Uh,
fixed.
Riley, do you have anything to say to this card? Or
Actually,
about this card?
I do. Like you had mentioned beforehand, we all kind of built decks around these. This one is a dinosaur and a warrior. And I know that that sounds really silly, but those are actually relevant creature types, which is kind of where I feel like this one starts to deviate from, I don't know, like the mono white one, where it's like there are things you can do in warrior tribal that make Tyrox actually somewhat scary.
But
So
here's the question. Why wouldn't you play a different legendary warrior?
you absolutely should in every case. I'm not saying that you
But if
shouldn't.
you want to have fun with the
But-
vanilla,
Look,
But-
it's got the same thing that you talked about earlier. You could play it for the memes because like
Surprise.
nobody's gonna target you. You're not gonna be a threat. And then if your commander dies 4 times, you probably will still be able to recast him.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, built correctly. I mean, granted, like you just literally said, any other warrior is probably better. But just the fact that you could bring a vanilla deck to a table and then just sneakily have the most stupid board, and people are looking at you like, what is happening? And you're like, yeah, it's my vanilla deck. No big deal, dude. It's pretty great.
It's my vanilla dinosaur warrior deck.
That's exactly what it is. Let's move on to the grades. Kick us off, Riley.
This is not because I'm biased or anything, but this is hands down my favorite of these vanilla creatures. It's a D.
Still, same, right here, D.
Well, here we are again.
Just say the letter. Let's go.
C.
Oh my god. How many vanillas are you giving C's? I'm giving this a D.
The only one I've given a D to is the white one.
I swear to God.
Tyrox, Saurid Tyrant gets the average grade of a D. And finally, the last color of mono legendary creatures is green. We will start with Oviya, Automech Artisan. It's 3 and a green for a 1/2 legendary creature human artificer. It says each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. And another ability for 1 green mana, you can tap it. You may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put an artifact onto the battlefield this way, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Surprise! Here's something for 1 green mana.
I mean, it could be
God, I
super
love
cool.
this.
Yeah,
I like
could-
this card a lot. We've seen this kind of effect before, of like surprise. I love the effect. I love the fact, should I say, this doesn't say it's sorcery speed, which means you can do it on your opponent's turns. If someone's swinging at you, be like, "Oh, in response to you attacking me with your 4/4, I drop a Blightsteel Colossus." Oh, what? That's an artifact. It
12,
gets 2
12.
counters.
Shit, 2 counters.
This,
It's even bigger. Yeah.
this card's so good. I honestly, I love this card so much. It's literally the green sneak attack.
And Riley, like you mentioned, incentivizing your opponents to attack each other. Each creature that's attacking your opponents has trample. It's
Yep.
so cool.
Now, there are other cards out there that do this kind of thing. I do think that trample is one of the more non-relevant keywords whenever trying to get me to attack. But I do love everything that this card is doing. And like what you mentioned, yeah, this having the major distinction from many of these other like cheap things into play, being able to do this on your opponent's turns is massive.
I very much agree. For someone that's playing Kona, if I could do that on your guys' turns, that would be so much better.
Yeah.
Ooh. I have a question.
And
Yeah.
Swap it out.
Does this replace Kona?
I still like Kona.
There's a lot. You'd have to change the deck around because Kona, a lot of effects in that deck, I feel like, are designed to tap.
Yeah, it's
down
all
Kona.
about like getting Kona to taps. Like this is definitely. It feels like it's easier to do this because there's no stipulation of like needing to attack or tapping it. It's just you pay and tap it, which is nice. So like I can see the comparisons.
The
I don't
only
know.
downside I see with this card is it is a 1/2. And that can die to pretty much everything.
Oh no.
That's the
I'm
only.
always gonna swing with this card.
I'm not saying you're swinging with it. I'm saying
You
it can
found
die.
my one weakness.
Die
I
just with
know.
any kind of ping. It could just.
It's so sad that this card dies to a Path to Exile
I
because
hate,
no other legendary creatures also die to like the most commonly played removal.
and I hate that I'm
I
in
know what
green,
you're
dude.
saying.
It sucks.
I know it's got protection. All right, I hear you guys. Let's move on to the grids. I'll kick us off. I love this card. It's a B.
Yeah, listen, I've given some vanilla legendary C's, so I think I'm crazy enough to say that I'm actually gonna put this at an A.
I think I'm gonna give this one a B.
Even it's just loose and fast with these grades. I'm giving it a B as well.
Oviya, Automech Artisan gets the average grade of a B. And our final monocolored legendary of the entire set of Aetherdrift is Terrian World Tyrant. It's 2 and 3 green for a 9/7 legendary creature, Dinosaur Ooze.
I was ready for you on that one. All right, you didn't catch me.
Almost gotcha. Steven, you've been so high on all these vanilla creatures for whatever dumb reason. Talk to us on why this one's good too.
Two things. One, rude. Two, this is great. I love this card. It's a 9/7 for 5, which is fantastic. It's in mono green. You get to ramp. You get to basically be the Timmiest of Timmies. Like the most vanilla Timmy ever. And I almost want to build this as just a straight vanilla green deck.
Do it.
Just a bunch of vanilla
Like,
creatures.
Just
Just-
all
just
vanilla
only
big
vanilla.
boys.
I would love to see
Oh,
that.
Bring it to MagicCon.
no.
I don't think we have anything else to say about this card, do we, Riley?
It's a dinosaur and an ooze, which are both relevant creature types. And
Mhm.
coming in at 5 mana, this is like Green's version of Yargle, but doesn't have the downside of it dies to small things. Like, this is a terrifyingly large creature, and it's very possible that kills you with just Voltron damage. I mean, with no pumps, it kills you in 3 hits, but let's be real, you're playing in green. This might be a creature you cannot let go unblocked.
Hunter, I'll answer your question. They have more words.
I saw that. Yeah, I do. I don't have any other words besides my initial response to all of these vanilla legendaries.
Green creature,
Bring it
green.
to a table.
I do want to
Surprise
say
your
one thing
opponents.
about this card. Sorry.
One more thing, okay?
Okay.
I think the last thing I'll say about this card, because Riley did mention it, it's a dinosaur and an ooze, which are two very relevant creature types. I think one of my favorite things to do with this, and I kind of saw it with one of the other decks, but Slime Against Humanity. It's a 3-mana sorcery, and you can put any number of them in your deck, and it just makes oozes.
Great.
Fantastic. Ooze deck. Bring it to the table. Surprise your opponents because on the face, it's just vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grids. Steven, kick us off with Terrian.
It's the last card.
Don't do it.
You know what we're doing. This is going to be a C.
Yeah, it's a D from me.
I'm going to give this one a D as well, but I do like this.
Shane,
I'm not doing it, dude. It's a D.
please.
Terrian World Tyrant gets the average grade of a D. And that is going to do it for us today. If you guys liked that video, hit the like button. Right, Steven? Put your thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you're staying up to date with all the other videos that we got putting out onto the channel. You don't want to miss it. In the description, you will find links to not only, I don't know when you're watching this video, but hey, maybe there's the other commander grades. Check the description, as well as all the links to our social media accounts. Follow us on those as well. Comment down below, like I said before, if you guys agree with these grades. Maybe we missed a point, that maybe we didn't like a card that you really like. We're interested to hear your guys' opinion. And on the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It really does mean the world to us. If you guys wanted to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, please check the link in the description below and consider subscribing. And a very special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with
Daryl Tripp.
Demarion Turner,
Doc Jerome,
Jimmy Ward.
Kevo.
Larry Killian,
Robert Myatt,
Thrifty PSGR.
Tim K.
Ryder Cole.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Later.
I miss you.
Bye bye.